You probably heard of the saying wolf in sheep's clothing. But have you ever heard of shotgun in rifle clothing? Well, that's a pretty shitty analogy, and there's plenty more where that came from. Hey guys, hello and welcome back. As always, my name is Leyzar, and today we're gonna dive deeper into the Astilla, a weapon that I feel most of the time simply gets misunderstood. I'm gonna be clarifying a couple of issues regarding it. I have a couple of builds laid out for you guys, something cheap and affordable, something anybody can get into, but of course we also have the quote-unquote endgame setup with a Riven. That being said, please keep in mind that my builds and guides usually take a more new player friendly approach, simply because there's a lot of information here and I want anybody watching this video to understand how the weapon functions and how it should be built. So if you're a veteran of the game, please have a little patience. And with that out of the way, let's jump into the Astilla. Let's start off by taking a general presentation of the weapon so we can understand how it functions. First of all, this is an automatic shotgun, and as you can see, it has a pretty decent rate of fire, and it fires these glass projectiles, these glass slugs, which have a bit of a travel time to them, and upon impact they will explode into shards of glass, because this is Gara's trademark weapon. Now you'll see there's something weird about the Astilla. I'm aiming at the top of this wall and the projectile is constantly going over it. Now this issue is even more apparent when you're trying to get headshots at close range. For example, in this case, this looks like a dead headshot, but the projectile is nowhere near the target's head. This is because there seems to be somewhat of a delay between you clicking your trigger and the projectile leaving the barrel, and of course the travel time mixed together with a very small drop off on the on the glass slug. That being said, the explosion of the Astilla keeps its damage constant throughout its entire area, so you're not gonna have to get targets caught in the middle. Ideally you want to hit your targets from above because the glass shards will not go through targets. So for example, if you hit a target in the front, it will not damage targets behind the explosion, but it will damage targets to the side or somehow in front of the explosion. So once again, if you want to get the most out of the AoE, you gotta hit targets from above. It's easier to think of it like the glass shards simply stop in the first thing they hit. Anyway, let's jump into stats and see precisely what we're dealing with. Mod capacity is 60 out of 60, and if your Astilla only has 30 out of 30, then jump into actions and plug in an autokin catalyst. The autokin catalyst can be found from alerts, invasions, or if you're lucky, from the daily sortie. Next, my weapon has been formatted a total of 7 times, but this was done for the purpose of testing, and I also have 2 Rivens. In any case, you guys won't have to format more than 4 times. By default, the Astilla comes with a V or Madurai symbol and a dash or Naramon symbol. So again, maximum of 4 format. Accuracy is pretty good for the Astilla at 25, and the glass slug will find its target as long as you keep in mind the travel time and of course that small bit of fall off. Critical chance is a bit low at 17%, and the multiplier is decent at 1.9. Now building this weapon into crit is not necessarily a bad idea, and it can function with a slash build, and we're gonna talk about that a bit later. Fall off between 30 and 60. Now this is still a shotgun, at least that's what DE tells us. The fall off damage is all the way to 50%, so up until 60 meters, and no fall off till 30 meters. The fall off again is quite decent for a shotgun. Fire rate 4.33, and we got a magazine size of 16 mixed with a reload speed of 2.0. Both of these in tandem make for rather little downtime. The issue with the Astilla will be ammo, but more on that later. Riven disposition 4 out of 5. Apparently the weapon is not very popular. Understandably so, because again, this is a bit of a hybrid between a shotgun and a rifle. Status chance is 33%, and this is kinda where the Astilla shines. So you can get this one to a true 100% status chance with the 460/60 mods. However, that is not exactly the best of ideas, and we'll go into that a bit later. Trigger auto, as you saw there, and the damage types, we have impact, puncture, and slash is the highest, and we're gonna take full advantage of this in one of our builds. Initially, however, we're gonna build the weapon into elemental. So let's start slapping on mandatory mods, starting with damage. Point blank or prime point blank, whatever you guys have handy. If you have prime versions, then by all means use your prime versions. We're not gonna stop here with damage, we're also gonna be adding vicious spread, and I'm gonna be calling this mod mandatory for the Astilla regardless of what you build. Now this one is a corrupted mod. It will give you 90% damage and it will also give you 60% spread. Normally on a shotgun, 60% spread is not a good thing because you're gonna be missing some of your pellets. However, this is not a pellet based weapon. This weapon fires one projectile. The 60% spread in the case of the Astilla has no effect. It does not make the explosion bigger, and it also doesn't affect the spread of multi-shot. So the 60% spread there simply has no effect in the case of the Astilla. Essentially, it's another point blank. We're gonna be adding even more damage than that with Blaze. Now Blaze is a fantastic mod and it's only available for shotgun. 60% damage and 60% heat. Theoretically, and depending on what else you slap on the weapon, it adds more than vicious spread, but again, it really depends for what kind of combo you're going. Now that we got our damage, next up is multi-shot, and let's see what kind of options when it comes to multi-shot. Health chamber, mandatory 120% multi-shot. Now 120% multi-shot means that we're gonna be firing 2 slugs, 2 explosions, and we also have a 20% chance of firing a third slug. Another option is vigilante armaments with another 60% multi-shot, bumping the chance of our third slug to 80%. For now, however, we're gonna leave it alone. Next, let's talk about elemental combos. An elemental damage should be added to a weapon depending on where you're going and who you're fighting. Up against the infested, then heat normally is more than enough to deal with them. Heat, such as Blaze. If you're going up against the corpus, then building magnetic will deal extra damage to their shields, or you can build gas, which will bypass their shields entirely because it procs toxin, or you can just build toxin. In any case, both the infested and the corpus are mostly weak targets that can be taken out of a fight rather easily, which is why we're taking the example of the Grenier, the toughest targets in Warframe. On Grenier units, you can find 2 types of armor, alloy and ferrite. Alloy is weak to radiation and ferrite is weak to corrosive. So both of these armor types have weaknesses. Alloy is what you can find on bombards and on their more weaker units such as butchers. Ferrite is reserved normally for their heavier units such as heavy gunner. In any case, more often than not, against Grenier, your best bet is to build corrosive. So why don't we do that? Corrosive is the elemental combo between electricity and toxin. The 90 mods or the 60-60 mods, the same old choice. Now let's keep in mind that the Astilla is not a pellet based weapon. It's not gonna be a case of 100% true status chance through status effects or bust. Then again, you can't have a low status chance either because you're not putting 1,000 bullets into your target. So you do need a healthy status chance. And through testing, the 60-60 mods constantly perform better. So we're gonna slap on Toxic Barrage. This one can be farmed from Corrupted Vor in the Void, if not from the trade chat 10 to 15 plat. Got my Toxin, next is my Electricity with Shell Shock. This one is farmable as well. From the mission Na Elgar on the planet Eris, you gotta find all the secret caches in that mission. Then upon extraction, you got about a 5% chance to get Shell Shock and High Voltage, which is the same mod but for rifles. If not, head on over to the trade chat. I think it's around 50 plat for PC at least. Now farming this one can be grueling, but it is definitely worth it, especially if you want to build a Tigris Prime as best you can. In any case, we got our elemental combo, but as you can see, I got gas. What? You said you built corrosive. That is because heat is in front of toxin and in front of electricity. The elemental combo priority on any weapon is from top left to bottom right. So if I just switch these two guys around, boom, I got corrosive, and once again, heat is a single element. I got my elemental combo. What follows next is another 60-60 mod. I got a 94.2% status chance. However, that is with multi-shot. If I want to see the true status chance, I gotta remove all multi-shot from the weapon. That is 72.6. So basically, in adding that second 60-60 mod in the form of Shell Shock, my status chance jumped to 52.8%, and once again, this is true status chance. Now I can bump it up even further. The question is it worth it? What can I bump it up with? Well, with more status effects. I still have Frigid Blast, the 60-60 for cold, and Scattering Inferno, the 60-60 for heat. Now if I put on Frigid Blast, my status chance jumps to 92.4%, and once again, that is a big jump in status chance. That is 20%. Definitely worth it. However, if I put on Frigid Blast, then I'm gonna have the combination of corrosive like this and blast. Unfortunately, Blast against heavily armored target deals 25% or 50% less damage. In any case, Blast is not a good idea against heavily armored targets. So what should I do? Well, I can always build more heat, and I can forget about Frigid Blast and add Scattering Inferno. Again, this one is farmable from Lua Spy missions. Check the link in the card now for easy mode way to farm, or you can just head on over to the trade chat. I think you can get it for something like 10, maximum 15 plat. Now I got a whole bunch of heat because I have Blaze and Scattering Inferno together, and my status chance jumped up to 92.4%. And I know it may be alluring to slap on the last 60/60 mod and get that 100% status chance, but in all honesty, it's simply not worth it, and I don't recommend you guys do so. Very well, so let's re-add our multi-shot, Hell's Chamber. As for our final mod slot, well, we have a couple of options here. What I recommend you guys doing is further increasing your elemental combo, your primary elemental combo, because I do have two at this time. I have my heat, which is a single element, and I have my corrosive, which again is a combination of elements. If I want to increase my primary elemental combo, I'm going to need more toxin or more electricity. So let's add the 90% electricity mod. And now my corrosive jumps to 2,985, basically 3k corrosive, 1.7k heat, and a whole bunch of physical types as well, with a status chance of 99.7%, but again, this is with multi-shot. You saw the true status chance a bit earlier. Now what we have here is level 120 Corrupted Heavy Gunner. Now initially I'm gonna do one shot so you can see the status effects being applied. One shot, 3 status effects, and in this guy's 4 status effects applied. That is because the Metal Slug has a guaranteed impact proc, which in gameplay brings a little bit of useful crowd control, but in testing it simply gets in the way, so I'm gonna put him up into the air and start wailing on them. And as you can see, the damage is absolutely insane. It takes, I don't know, 12 shots, 13 shots to fully take out one of these high level targets. Now the Astilla for an MR10 weapon certainly packs a serious punch, and if you want to maximize your AoE capabilities, then you need to hit your targets from above. You see I hit from above. I have basically all around me, all around the initial target, I applied status effects. And this is one impressive weapon. Now don't get me wrong, when it comes to AoE, the Amprax or the Ignis are gonna do a far better job, or even the Lens for that matter. But it is a little bit of nice added benefit. As for the kill potential of the Astilla, I think, at least with an elemental build, it's pretty clear. It is a pretty powerful weapon. Just keep in mind how you aim. If you go straight for headshots like this, most of my slugs are simply gonna go off target. If I take a little bit of distance from my target like this, and I aim roughly around the chest area, then well, that is a whole lot more efficient. But did you notice the weak point of the weapon? Look at my ammo. It is almost gone because the maximum additional ammo you get is 112. There is a way to fix this without using ammo mutation, which would be a waste, and that is through carrier and or carrier prime. It doesn't matter which you have, both will work beautifully, because carrier can use ammo case, increases ammunition capacity by 25%, and converts ammo pickups into ammo for equipped weapons after 2 seconds. Just keep in mind to have the Astilla equipped, and that's gonna be the base build I'm recommending to you guys. With carrier, I never ran out of ammo. Even after like 40 minutes in defense, I was still at full ammo, so there is no need to use a ammo mutation or something like that. Now this is gonna be a base elemental build, but it's not your only option. We're gonna switch to a slash build, and you see I only kept Point Blank, Vicious Spread, and Hell's Chamber, and I'm gonna explain why that is. Now the slash build we're gonna go after is not with 100% status chance and taking advantage of the weapon's innate slash value. You can try and build it like that, I certainly did, and in testing the results were rather poor. We're gonna go through a very overpowered mod by the name of Hunter Munitions. Now just wait and see. Yes, the build does actually work beautifully. Now we have Hunter Munitions. Now this one applies slashes through crit, but the crit chance is so low. Now let's try to amplify it and see if we get good results. When it comes to crit chance, Blunderbuss unfortunately only offers 90% crit chance, and you have the option of Laser Sight. Laser Sight, 120 crit chance while aiming for 9 seconds. And the price on this one is roughly 15 plat from the trade chat. Now, if you're feeling ballsy or confident, definitely go for laser sight over blunderbuss. Got crit chance, and it would be rather poor idea not to add crit damage in this case, and of course we're gonna go with Ravage. If you have Prime Ravage, that would be a big upgrade. As for our final 2 mod slots, we're gonna have to build Viral. When building a weapon for slash, it is a very smart idea to go for Viral, because that will reduce the target's maximum health by 50%, so in a way your slashes will be dealing double damage. Which one do we go for, however? Do we go for the 60-60 or the 90 mods? In this case, we're gonna go for the 60-60 because we will be taking advantage of the weapon's high slash value. More status chance, therefore more slashes. And again, this is not a pellet based weapon. This is not the Tigris Prime or the Stern Ray. For the Boar Prime, you don't need 100% status chance. So Toxic Barrage for Toxin, and we still need the Cold in order to make viral damage with Frigid Blast. Now I'd like to point something out here. Hold on, let me back up and back into the weapon. Why did I use Vicious Spread over Blaze? Because that might not seem apparent. Now, if I add Blaze, I actually do get more damage. There is that. Hold on, let me put it here. There we go. I get a lot of heat, 627. If you run the calculation, a little bit of math, you'll see that Blaze actually gives you more damage in this case. However, it introduces another element, heat, which will be higher than my slash, therefore reducing my chances to proc slash of the weapon's innate slash value mixed in together with the high status chance. That is why we're using Vicious Spread over Blaze. Now let's test it out and see if it's worth anything. Probably is not, huh? Well, you're gonna be surprised. The weapon is actually quite potent with a setup such as this. And don't worry about Carrier, he has nothing, no weapon, nothing that will contribute to the damage. And once again, back to the air you go. And I'm gonna hit these guys at about 50%, 50 to 60%, and then let the slashes together with the viral do their magic. And look at that. Didn't expect that, did you? To be honest, neither did I. But again, this weapon is more of a rifle than it is a shotgun. Look at that. Absolutely bloody beautiful. And I know there's a lot of you guys that like Hunter Munitions and slash builds, and what can I say, especially for end game content, if you can find any, that is, a slash build is definitely the smart way to go. Quite effective. Constant viral applications. I'm getting a lot of slashes, not necessarily from the crits, but also from the status chance. Going for 100% status chance and just like giving up on viral, however, proved really bad results. I was expecting a bit more, but sadly not. In any case, this is what the weapon can do with a bit of a hybrid build. We got build Hunter Munitions together with a good amount of status chance, 260-60 mods. And from my point of view, that is quite good. Again, we're still talking about an MR10 weapon. This is not your only option, however, when it comes to a slash build. The next one is, I don't know if it's 100% better, but it definitely gets you better slashes. We're gonna forget about viral altogether, so we're gonna remove Frigid Blast, and we're also going to remove Toxic Barrage. We're gonna go for more crit chance and crit damage. More crit damage with Shrapnel Shot. Now this one is farmable, once again from Loa Spy mission. Check the cards. Yeah, you will see an easy mode way to farm it. Painless, I promise. 99% crit damage while aiming for 9 seconds. Now that is a lot more than Ravage. Let's keep in mind that Prime Ravage fully maxed out is 110. So 99% is quite a lot. However, it's an on-kill effect and it's while aiming for 9 seconds. However, in everyday gameplay, you shouldn't have too much of a rough time keeping this one up. And Laser Sight. Now Laser Sight is crit chance on headshot while aiming, 120% crit chance, and to be honest, I would honestly recommend Laser Sight over Blunderbuss. If you're feeling up for it, then by all means go for it. And this is gonna be our second slash build. Now this one will give us more slashes because of higher crit chance, Hunter Munitions, yes, and higher crit damage amounts. Okay, the value of the slashes will be higher because of Shrapnel Shot. There's also another thing to take into account. Viral has disappeared, which means that even though I have a lower status chance, my slash is now the highest with viral being gone. Remember the same reason I didn't use Blaze over Vicious Spread. Now of course, because of shrapnel shot, I'm gonna have to kill off one of these targets before I get the full benefit, because once again it is an on-kill effect, and in general, to be honest, I'm not really a fan of on-kill effects. However, they can definitely be quite potent. There we go, we took a target out, now I'm getting the full benefit. I'm gonna start wailing on this target, and look at those amounts, a lot higher than before. So a build such as this doesn't rely on viral, and it doesn't need to have viral on the target in order to kill it. It simply gets more slashes and bigger slashes on the target. Which of them is better? Well, on paper, at least, this one should be better, but in everyday gameplay, to be honest, the viral one with the 60/60 mod simply was more reliable than this one. You can get a situation such as now. I put in so many hits on this target and basically no slash. I'm not even close to 100% crit chance with this weapon. So there is that to take into account. The Astilla's low crit chance kinda turns around to bite it in the ass. But once again, you will see that the crit amounts are high. Look at that. Good slash amount, good slash count, and of course, good slash value as well. The option will come down to you. I recommend the viral build, but I thought this build was also worth mentioning. Okay, that's out of the way. I know that took a while. I'm really sorry. We are almost done. Riven setup, and I have two Rivens for the Astilla. First one with cold multi-shot and damage to Grenier, and another one with crit chance and status chance. Now if you guys get something like this with a high status chance, then you can drop the 60/60 mods and just go for the 90 mods. I'm gonna be using this one. The cold helps me make viral together with toxic barrage. Multi-shot is always good, and if I am to have a damage increase against a specific faction, then I'm glad it's Grenier. In any case, you can get much better Rivens than this, and if you're looking for stats to prioritize on a Riven, I would go for damage and multi-shot over everything else. Prime Point Blank and Prime Ravage, of course, took the spots of the normal version, and the Riven is in place of the 60/60 cold mod. Now that we got our Riven set up, why don't we test it? And I'm gonna be spawning in, of course, the exact same targets, and we're going to go to town. Yes, Rivens do make things a whole lot better, as you will see. It takes roughly half a clip to take out one of these targets, with the viral, of course, with the slashes and everything else. Let's try to do exactly half a clip. 2, 3, 4, there you go, something like that. More than enough to take these guys out. And again, you can roll Rivens a whole lot better than that. If you get something like multi-shot together with damage and a minus like, I don't know, I don't want to say maximum ammo, because again, ammo is an issue for the Astilla. Maybe recoil, I don't know if you can even roll that. You might be able to roll some recoil. But yes, the weapon is a whole lot more potent with a Riven such as this one, as you can see. Bloody beautiful, isn't it? Now, there's still one more thing we gotta do. Amp it up to the absolute max together with Lady Mirage Prime. And of course, we're not gonna stop here. Let's go into upgrades. Now, what you can use instead of corrosive projection is a mod called an aura called Shotgun Amp. Now this one will grant its benefit being an aura to the entire party. Unfortunately, it's only 18% extra damage, which is why in general I don't recommend Shotgun Amp. If you're going up against Grenier, then corrosive projection will yield better results anyway. As for arcanes, sadly for us, when it comes to shotgun arcanes, not a lot of options. The only one is Arcane Tempo. Now what Arcane Tempo will do is give you, what was it again? Yes, on critical hit, 10% chance for 60% fire rate to shotguns for 8 seconds, plus the usual 1 Arcane Revive. This one drops from the first Eidolon down on Cetus, the Terror List, and the R3, if you just want to buy it, it's around 35-40 plat, so it is fairly cheap and definitely worth getting. As for a second option, I guess you can use something like Arcane Avenger. On damage, 14% chance for 30% critical chance for 8 seconds and the usual Arcane Revive. But again, it's not a shotgun amp, it's more of a general amp. And that's gonna do it. Let's get back to testing and see what we can do with some very serious Warframe buffs. Activate Mirage's clones and of course her third ability for a massive 544 damage increase. And I'm just gonna hit these targets just a couple of times. Look at that. What was that? 5 bullets, 6 bullets, something along those lines. And of course it is a whole lot better. Now let's maximize that AoE potential and hit targets from above. Death from above. Absolute carnage and mayhem from what? A mastery rank 10 weapon. Absolutely bloody glorious. Now I'll be honest with you guys, I love the Astilla and I highly recommend it, especially if you just hit MR10. And that's gonna do it for this build guide. Hopefully now you have all the information you need to build your brand new shotgun. Now in case I missed something, because I'm human, by all means leave it in the comment section down below. As always, my name has been Leyzar. Thank you guys so much for watching. Share and subscribe if you enjoyed the content. If you have any feedback for me or would like to request a specific weapon review, then by all means leave it in the comment section down below. I can't realistically promise you that it will be done by next time, but I will be reading through each and every comment. But until next time guys, bye bye!